Hey guys, it's Leslie from Newark Boys and Girls Club, and today we're going to learn about reading nutrition labels from the program Be an All-Star and week 6. So we are going to go down through a nutrition label, and I'm going to teach you how to look for what to look for in nutrition. So obviously this is a bag of sour cream and onion chips. Not the most nutritious thing. But reading the label, I can understand how much I can have and how much I should probably avoid having. So, for instance, you're going to look at the top and you're going to look at the serving size. So it says 1 ounce and is 13 chips. And so you should have 13 chips in a serving. And then you're going to go down and you're going to look at these ingredients here. These are going to tell you the percent daily value. And this is as if you're in a 2,000 calorie diet a day. So if you have to have that, this is what you're going to go by. So let's start up here with fat. So we want something that doesn't have a lot of fat in it, but you might want some fat. Especially when you're doing something high activity, like you guys are getting outside a lot. So this one has 2 grams of saturated fat. 10% of this is the saturated fat. So you get 10% of your total calories in the day in this serving of chips. So saturated fat is really not a good thing to have. So you want to look for things that have zero saturated or trans fat. You want fat, but you don't want saturated or trans fat. So that's what is here. So it says polyunsaturated fat and monounsaturated fat. They both add up to 7 grams. So that's where you get your 9 grams. So basically it's 7 grams of fat that's not saturated. Still would look for something with less fat in it. Let's move on. Cholesterol. This says it has 0, so 0%. You want a little bit of cholesterol because your body needs that, but you don't want things high in cholesterol because then if it gets too high, it could cause heart problems. So make sure that it has a little bit of cholesterol, especially after an activity, but not too much. Now we move on to sodium. Sodium says 260 milligrams. Well, obviously we don't want too much salt, but you need salt for your body. It helps keep the water in your body. That's something I learned this week. So you want some sodium, but not too much. I would say this is a little too much, especially if you're having a pre-workout or pre-play snack or after snack. You want something a little bit more healthy. And then your carbs. This says your total carbs are 15 grams. So you want to kind of stay away from things that are high in carbs, but you want a little bit of carbs because that makes your sugar balanced. This has, and speaking of sugar, this has 1 gram of sugar. So pretty low in sugar, which is good. You don't want something real high in sugar, but you don't want something that is super low either. You want something that has a little bit of sugar. It can have no sugar. That can work too. But if you're looking for something that has some sweet in it, but not too high, you want to go for things that maybe have 1 gram or 10 grams versus things that have like 100 grams. So we also want to look at protein. Protein, this says 2 grams. After you do any sort of activity, you want something with a high protein. So you want to get something with a little more protein than chips. Now we're going to look at vitamins. So you see how this has I don't know if you can see, 0% for most of the vitamins, and then the potassium and the iron. There's a little bit of iron, about 2%, and about 8% potassium. You want it to have a little bit more in it because you've been playing around and everything, and you want it to have a good amount. All right, guys, Thanks for looking at a nutrition label with me.